Upgrade complete. Please stand by.
During World War II, or rather, Allies versus Soviets, or Red Alert 1, a wide variety of soldiers, vehicles, aircraft, ships, and experimental weapons were deployed. On the Allies' side, we have the scientists Einstein. Yes, there were two of them, along with the use of the chronosphere. And on the Soviet side, the use of Tesla technology. We'll also include a few additions from two mods, Dawn of the Tiberium Age and Combine Arms, but we'll only be mentioning the cannon, I think. When the Soviet invasion began spreading across surrounding territories, moving dangerously close to Europe, several member nations, including the United States, joined together to form the Allied Forces, or Allied Nations, better known simply as the Allies. Their armies, along with special forces units, united to face the Soviet threat. Among their ranks were equipped with the standard M16, they are the backbone of the Allied forces. They are deployed on the front lines, often supported by specialized units for protection, as well as accompanying vehicles in combat, whether engaging enemy armor with anti-tank weapons or assaulting enemy bases. They are basic soldiers with rigorous training, and while they cannot effectively deal with armored units on their own, they are highly effective against other infantry. In-game, they become especially powerful when used in large numbers. When the situation gets complicated with the appearance of armored vehicles or aircraft, rocket infantry is always ready to provide support. With their rocket launchers, they are capable of damaging armored units. This unit compensates for its lack of speed with powerful attacks. In addition to hitting ground targets, their missiles are also effective against air units. While their rockets are ineffective against infantry, they deal area damage in a small radius. They also have greater range, allowing them to engage most basic defenses. Their greatest strength is their role as support within mixed groups. The machine gunner tears through lightly armored targets with brutal efficiency and can also deal considerable damage to tanks. Thanks to heavy armor, they are very difficult to take down, and they pair extremely well with medics, further increasing their survivability. The downside to all this power is their relatively high cost and slow speed, so it's best to transport them in armored personnel carriers or deploy them directly at the front. Engineers are used to capture key buildings, both enemy and allied, and to carry out repairs. Since they are unarmed, they are extremely vulnerable on the battlefield and must be escorted by infantry to reach their objective. They are also very slow, making armored transport vehicles the ideal way to move them around. In prolonged battles where avoiding unnecessary casualties is crucial, or quickly recovering troops to keep them on the front line, field medics are available to support any nearby Allied infantry. Although a medic cannot heal themselves, multiple medics working together are an excellent addition to any infantry force. Just like the field medic, the mechanic can repair vehicles right on the battlefield, preventing them from having to return to base and use the service depot. He uses his specialized tools to repair Allied vehicles. His training and equipment make him somewhat expensive. However, his ability to ride inside armored transport vehicles and deploy quickly from a barracks gives him major advantages as a support unit. Master of Disguise, the spy can slip unnoticed among enemy forces by disguising himself as one of their infantry soldiers. He can gather valuable intelligence on the enemy, what they're building, how much money they have, how many units they possess, and more. If he enters certain buildings, such as airfields or submarine pens, he can grant strategic advantages to his own side. However, attack dogs are not easily fooled and will immediately recognize and attack him. If you want to steal resources from the enemy, any thief who enters a refinery or ore silo will steal half of the credits stored in that structure. Unlike the spy, the thief is completely visible and easily identifiable by the enemy. Tanya Adams is an independent mercenary who works for or alongside the Allies, although she is not officially enlisted in their forces. She calls herself a lethal guerrilla fighter and has the full support of General Gunther von Essling, who considers her one of his most valuable field agents. His second-in-command, Nikos Stavros, initially distrusted the idea of a civilian taking part in military operations, but he soon accepted his superior's decision. In any war, resources are essential, and that's where the ore collector plays a critical role. This simple dump truck forms the backbone of the war economy. Equipped with a front-mounted excavator scoop, it gathers raw ore and transports it to a refinery for processing. Its importance demands heavy armor. Fortunately, its engine allows for extensive plating, making it one of the most durable vehicles on the battlefield. The ore truck is a basic vehicle optimized for transporting resources extracted from ore fields or gem deposits. It is widely used and shows little variation across industrialized nations. Both the Allies and the Soviets adopted this civilian design for military use, with some modifications. Its most important feature is its thick armor, allowing it to withstand heavy impacts before damage reaches the engine or fuel tank. The lack of weaponry also contributes to its durability. Its cargo compartment features a self-sealing system that prevents resource loss even after multiple hits. It unloads its cargo at a refinery using a side dump system, unlike the rear dump method used in later conflicts. Fast and lightly armored, or nearly unarmored, the Jeep is ideal for quickly scouting the battlefield. Used as a support unit for infantry squads, the Scout, equipped with an M60 or .50 caliber machine gun mounted on the back, can ambush or harass enemy forces before direct engagement. The Ranger is an excellent vehicle for reconnaissance and battlefield exploration, as well as for harassing enemy bases, especially when used alongside light tanks. It is also effective against infantry. It is the first vehicle deployed by the Allies in the campaign. However, it has almost no armor, making it vulnerable to anything other than infantry. It is also not designed to engage air units, although technically it could. This is limited by in-game mechanics. Interestingly, the Ranger cannot transport infantry, so an armored personnel carrier is required for that role, likely due to protection concerns. The light tank is the smallest and fastest armored vehicle in the Allied arsenal. Its compact size and high speed allow it to dodge enemy projectiles with relative ease. It is one of the fastest tracked vehicles available, surpassed only by the APC and the mine layer. Like other armored vehicles, it can crush infantry, something it excels at thanks to its mobility. Its main weapon is a 75mm cannon that fires HET rounds at hostile targets. While each shot deals less damage than heavier tanks, its fast reload gives it high sustained damage output. However, its relatively weak armor prevents it from engaging Soviet tanks in direct combat without precise micromanagement. It can even be destroyed by a full discharge from a Soviet Tesla coil. For this reason, Allied commanders often combine light and medium tanks. The medium tanks absorb damage, while the light tanks take advantage of their rate of fire. Even so, its most important trait is mobility, which, when used properly, can turn it into a tactical weapon against nearly any threat. Its firepower, speed, low cost, and fast production make it one of the most favored units among Allied commanders. The M1A1 Abrams, or more commonly referred to in-game as the medium tank, is a heavily armored tracked combat vehicle that forms the backbone of Allied armored forces. Its main 90mm cannon, sometimes incorrectly referred to as 105mm, allows it to engage enemy armor without sacrificing mobility. Thanks to its solid speed, balanced firepower, moderate rate of fire, and strong armor, the medium tank became an extremely successful unit. Its deployment helped offset the Allies' early disadvantage in armored warfare. According to some accounts, this development enraged Stalin, prompting him to accelerate the Mammoth tank project, which led to its imperfect self-repair capabilities. Many consider the medium tank to be the true workhorse behind the Allied victory. Its design remained relevant for decades, even serving as the basis for GDI tank models during the First Tiberium War. From the early days of armored warfare, one of the key challenges was how to keep infantry operating alongside tanks. From the beginning of armored warfare, one major question was how to keep infantry moving alongside tanks. Tanks without infantry support could be quickly destroyed by rocket troops, making infantry screening essential. Additionally, certain units, like commandos, needed a safe way to enter and exit dangerous combat situations. The APC was the solution. The APC is small, fast, and heavily armored. Equipped with a light machine gun, it is effective against all types of infantry. Its speed and ability to crush infantry make it highly effective against most soldiers, with the exception of heavy assault troops whose armor prevents them from being crushed. Although it can be used to transport engineers, the number required to capture most structures makes this tactic less practical. The APC can also be chrono-shifted, but any infantry inside will simply be erased from time. Compared to the Ranger, the APC carries the same weapon, but is far more durable, and unlike the Ranger, it can crush infantry. Specialized in eliminating enemy armored vehicles, the tank destroyer sacrifices some armor in order to mount a much more powerful cannon than that of the medium tank. This weapon features high projectile velocity, giving it not only greater burst damage, but also superior range compared to other tanks. Its shots are so fast that even reconnaissance vehicles struggle to evade them. Due to the high cost of its weaponry, the tank destroyer is not very efficient when used alone. However, it excels as a support unit within mixed armored formations. Despite its specialized role, it remains more durable than other anti-armor units, making combined Allied forces particularly difficult to counter. In the years leading up to World War II, many nations developed self-propelled artillery. This was typically achieved by mounting a howitzer on a modified tank chassis, often repurposing obsolete vehicles. However, some designs were built specifically for this role. By the outbreak of the war, most Allied nations already fielded these units, and their production increased significantly throughout the conflict. The most common configuration featured a 155mm howitzer mounted on a lightly armored tracked chassis, capable of firing high-explosive ballistic projectiles. Allied commanders primarily used artillery to bombard enemy bases and fortifications, though it also proved highly effective as a long-range anti-infantry weapon. However, while effective against Soviet defenses, Tesla coils have greater range and enough power to destroy artillery units in a single strike. Artillery is extremely useful for weakening enemy formations from a distance. That said, its low armor, slow speed, and limited maneuverability make it highly vulnerable, especially to enemy tanks. For this reason, it performs best when protected by more durable or expendable units, such as tanks or infantry. Compared to the Soviet V-2 rocket launcher, artillery is cheaper and fires more rapidly, but has shorter range and deals less damage per shot. When properly managed, anti-air trucks are an excellent support unit for moving armies. They are especially useful for defending bases and protecting ore collectors from aerial attacks. However, they have light armor, and while they can fire at ground targets, they are not particularly effective in that role. For this reason, they require support from other units to protect them against enemy infantry and armored vehicles. The mine layer is armored enough to withstand significant damage, yet light enough to reach respectable speeds. It can carry up to 5 mines at a time and can reload at a service depot. Mines are extremely dangerous. A single one can severely damage a heavy tank, destroy a V-2 rocket launcher, and even deal moderate damage to a mammoth tank. It can also be used to mine enemy resource fields, damaging or destroying ore collectors. To deploy a mine, the vehicle must move to the desired location. Once placed, a distinct clicking sound indicates the deployment is complete. Mines placed in ore fields cannot be destroyed through conventional attacks. To remove them, An infantry unit must be moved onto the mine, and then a light tank, medium tank, or rocket soldier must be ordered to fire at that unit. The impact will destroy the mine while causing only minor damage to the infantry. The use of mine layers was discontinued after the war. The concept of the Mobile Construction Vehicle, or MCV, was developed before World War II and was widely used by both the Allies and the Soviets. Both factions relied on similar truck-based designs to deploy bases on the battlefield. MCVs use relatively simple hydraulic technology to transform into construction yards, the core structures of any military base. From these construction areas, commanders can build a wide range of structures, allowing them to deploy armies directly on the front lines and carry out both precision strikes and guerrilla operations. Once deployed, these construction areas are typically fortified with walls, defensive turrets, and barbed wire to ensure their survival. It is not uncommon for commanders to build additional MCVs after gaining access to them through a service depot, using them both as a backup measure and to expand their presence across the battlefield with new bases. MCV operators are highly trained personnel. They must not only know how to handle these massive vehicles, but also understand terrain conditions to determine the optimal deployment location. Once deployed, the MCV also acts as a coordination hub, overseeing construction operations from its position. However, MCVs are slow and unarmed, making their protection absolutely essential in most missions. The Mobile Radar Jammer is a utility vehicle used by both factions during the war. It is an armored vehicle, likely based on a half-track chassis, equipped with a portable jamming system. This device disrupts enemy radar screens, causing them to display only static. It is important to note that this interference only affects radar systems. The vehicle itself remains visible to the naked eye. Despite its usefulness, it was not a particularly popular unit. Many commanders preferred the Mobile Gap Generator, which provided more comprehensive coverage even at the cost of higher expense and technical requirements. As a result, the radar jammer became obsolete after the war. With the advancement of radar and communication technologies in later decades, the vehicle was retired from service. However, its chassis proved versatile and was repurposed into a mobile command center, replacing the jamming equipment with communication and coordination systems. These upgraded versions were later used by both GDI and NOD during the First Tiberium War. The Mobile Gap Generator is a truck-mounted version of the gap generator featured in Red Alert 1. Its function is to generate interference that not only conceals nearby units, but also distorts sections of the map, preventing enemy electronic systems from accurately detecting what's happening within the affected area. Due to the need for portability, its size and power consumption were reduced, limiting its effective radius compared to stationary versions. Even so, its ability to hide moving forces made it a valuable tactical tool. The Mobile Gap Generator was phased out during the early stages of the Third World War. While it is virtually harmless on its own, it can become a serious threat when combined with other units. In more advanced iterations, its interference can become so strong that enemies struggle to aim accurately, or even see what's happening inside the gap field. The Chrono Tank was an experimental Allied vehicle deployed during World War II. This tank is essentially a chronosphere on tracks. It is armed with twin missile launchers that are highly effective against armored units and structures. Thanks to its special ability, it can be decisive in the right hands. Its defining feature is the ability to chrono shift to any point on the battlefield. Unlike the standard chronosphere, each tank can teleport independently and does not automatically return to its original position. This system also does not create chronovortices. Although its armor is relatively light, its firepower and mobility compensate for this weakness. A common tactic involved sending a group of chronotanks directly into an enemy base to destroy its power supply, allowing other units, such as medium tanks, to advance without being neutralized by defenses. After each jump, the tank requires a cooldown period before it can teleport again. Each unit must be manually assigned a destination point, though multiple tanks can be coordinated to execute fast, decisive strikes simultaneously. The demolition truck is a vehicle equipped with a nuclear payload. As its name suggests, it can destroy nearly everything around it upon detonation. Toward the end of World War II, both Allied and Soviet forces began developing this concept. It consisted of a small, lightly armored truck operated either remotely or by a driver willing to sacrifice themselves, armed with a nuclear device. The objective was simple: drive the vehicle to its target and detonate the payload. The explosion was comparable in power to nuclear warheads launched from missile silos, causing massive devastation. However, its use came with significant risks. The system's instability meant that using the chronosphere could trigger premature detonation. Likewise, the Iron Curtain effect only lasted a fraction of a second on this vehicle, likely due to the interaction between both energy sources. Because of its nature, the warhead remained permanently armed. This meant that any damage, whether from airstrikes, mines, or enemy fire, would immediately trigger the explosion. Many commanders lost their own bases due to poor handling of these units. Grouping them was also extremely dangerous, as one explosion could trigger a chain reaction. The truck lacks defensive weaponry and has limited armor, making it vulnerable before reaching its target. However, destroying it with ground units often results in heavy losses due to the resulting blast. For this reason, airstrikes or mines are recommended to neutralize it. Escorting these vehicles is advised, although this carries the risk of losing the escort units if detonation occurs. After the war, both factions retired these vehicles. However, during the Third World War, Libya revived the concept, using drivers with extreme loyalty instead of remote systems. These versions had lower explosive yield, but added radioactive effects.
The Phase Transport is a stealth Allied vehicle based on the APC. It has the ability to bend light around itself, making it nearly invisible to the naked eye. While its transport capacity is limited, it is equipped with a missile turret. Its development was discovered by a Soviet spy, which caught Stalin's attention. Volkov and Chitskoy later stole the prototype and blueprints before destroying the production facility. The vehicle was used in covert operations, such as infiltrating Allied-controlled areas to sabotage communication systems, clearing the way for Soviet reinforcements. In combat, the Phase Transport can carry a single infantry unit. Its camouflage deactivates when firing or when moving too close to enemy units or defensive structures. Despite its strong weaponry, its armor is light, making it vulnerable to specialized units and heavy vehicles. A coordinated group of these transports can destroy structures in seconds. It's worth noting that it cannot be repaired while cloaked. Its invisibility must be disabled for mechanics to perform repairs. The Enforcer is a mobile bunker designed to respond to virtually any ground threat. Equipped with multiple machine guns and rocket launchers, it boasts the heaviest armor of any vehicle on the battlefield. Despite its size, it can still outrun units like artillery and heavy tanks. Its most distinctive feature is the ability to deploy its rear compartment, transforming into a fully functional barracks, allowing infantry to be trained and deployed directly at the front line, sacrificing mobility for tactical presence. The Enforcer is primarily used as a front-line unit during Allied assaults, absorbing damage while more specialized units, such as tank destroyers or artillery, deal the main damage. Due to its size and weight, it cannot be transported by Chinook helicopters.
Capable of transporting multiple infantry units by air, the Chinook is ideal for deploying engineers and other assault squads into enemy bases. Chinooks provide excellent mobility for both infantry and light vehicles, allowing them to travel quickly over long distances. However, they are highly vulnerable to anti-air defenses, so careful maneuvering is essential when operating near enemy positions. The longbow is an attack helicopter used by the Allies during World War II. It is equipped with heavy armor, a modern targeting system, and multiple missile launchers. Its powerful missiles and high speed allow it to hunt down enemy tanks, particularly fragile units like the V-2 rocket launcher. Other units, such as heavy tanks, are also vulnerable due to their lack of anti-air capabilities. However, the longbow does not have enough armor to withstand prolonged anti-air fire, forcing commanders to deploy it with caution. Once in action, it proves highly effective against defenseless targets. The downside of its powerful weaponry is limited ammunition. It can only carry 10 missiles and must reload at an intact helipad before returning to combat. As an air unit, the longbow is somewhat illogically ineffective at scouting terrain. Its heavy armor allows it to survive several missile volleys and even engage a mammoth tank for a limited time with a reasonable chance of survival. Thanks to its guided munitions, the longbow is also capable of targeting aircraft. While it struggles against faster Soviet aircraft like Yaks or MiGs, it has a clear advantage over Hinds, which cannot attack air units and are slower. Unfortunately, this capability was rarely utilized, as air-to-air combat was uncommon, and the command systems of the time did not allow targeting enemy aircraft effectively.
The transport was a naval unit used by both Allied and Soviet forces during World War II. This unarmed hovercraft featured an octagonal air cushion and 4 folding ramps, allowing loading and unloading from multiple directions. During the war, both sides needed a fast way to transport troops, vehicles, and supplies across large bodies of water without relying on ports or docks everywhere. The solution was the hovercraft transport. Essentially, it was a large barge riding on an air cushion, enabling rapid amphibious deployment. However, its simple design meant minimal armor, making it extremely vulnerable to enemy fire. During the early stages of World War II, the Allies relied on small, versatile gunboats for reconnaissance and support of larger vessels. With the threat of invasion looming, a quick and cost-effective design was needed to support defensive efforts. The gunboat served as a stopgap solution, being the cheapest unit capable of engaging Soviet submarines. It was not intended as the backbone of the Allied Navy, but rather as a temporary response until destroyers could be deployed. Large numbers of gunboats were used to patrol coastal waters, hunt submarines, and provide limited naval fire support. While World War II-era gunboats eventually became obsolete, the concept of a fast, lightweight attack vessel endured. The Global Defense Initiative later used modernized versions during the First Tiberium War to support ground forces near coastlines. Unlike the original Allied versions equipped with cannons, GDI gunboats feature powerful missile launchers and twin .50 caliber machine guns for close defense, though these are not represented in gameplay.
Frigates serve as the primary naval combat unit for the Allies, firing volleys of anti-armor rockets effective against both ships and ground vehicles. They have decent armor and good speed, but cannot target enemy aircraft, requiring support from other units for anti-air defense. The destroyer was the Allies' medium warship during World War II, acting as the backbone of their navy. Unlike other Allied ships, the destroyer was a multi-role unit. A forward-mounted missile launcher could engage aircraft, structures, and armored units using Stinger missiles, even outranging Tesla coils. It could also perform anti-submarine duties, with dual depth charge launchers allowing it to fight Soviet submarines on relatively equal terms. Destroyers typically served as escorts for cruisers, which focused on delivering heavy surface bombardment against structures in tightly packed units. As World War II-era destroyers became outdated, they were replaced by newer models in the Third World War,
while their anti-air role was taken over by the Aegis cruiser. The cruiser was a heavy Allied warship used during World War II. It was armed with 4 8-inch guns mounted in twin turrets, capable of firing long-range explosive shells that could devastate enemy bases from afar. Its heavy armor and firepower came at the cost of mobility and lack of defenses against aircraft and submarines. As a result, cruisers relied heavily on destroyers and gunboats for protection against these threats. After the war, cruisers were replaced by aircraft carriers during the Third World War.
Well, it looks like this video ended up being a bit longer than expected. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it. In the next video, we'll be covering all Soviet units. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.
Battle control terminated.